Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Tembe Elephant Park here in Maputo land, South Africa, where we have an elephant pool party today. How awesome to start the show off with an elephant pool party. So my name is Kerry Dupree, folks, and I will be your naturalist presenter for the afternoon. So just a reminder that this is a live and interactive show. So please feel free to send us through those questions. Head across to our website and register, or you can use Twitter or X, or you can also use the code on screen, and don't forget to use the hashtag @WildEarth to join me today on this live at the waterhole. How amazing to start this day with some beautiful tuskers, nice big elephant bulls here in Tembe, having a lovely pool party. Looks like we have a bit of an elephant fight that's about to break out, a little play fight with a few males breaking out on the right-hand side here. Joanne Mello, thank you again for joining us today at Live at the Waterholes, as well as Mercedes Ben and Ari. It's great to have you all with us here on this Monday afternoon. I am super excited to see what we're going to find. And very interesting to see these elephants having a pool party in this more kind of reed, muggy, gooey part of the pan. I'm sure the ducks that are on the right-hand side, they are rather unimpressed that the elephants have taken over their little habitat. But these elephants are having the best time. No better time to have a pool party than on a Monday. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope you are all had the most fabulous weekend and ready for this week that is ahead of us. So you can tell, look at these balls that are obviously have been completely submerged in the water, are completely dark black color as opposed to these other two bulls who have not quite got their feet wet yet. Looks like that one bull is a little bit afraid to get his feet wet today. I wouldn't mind having a pool party today, although even though we're heading into our summer months, it is still a little bit chilly. I almost jumped into a swimming pool on the weekend, but it was still quite cold, I must say. I'm not going to be jumping into a pool anytime soon, but I'm sure as the end of August approaches and September arrives, it is going to shape up for some nice warm weather for a lot of sunny pool party days. Nice to see some impala around. We had some nyala on Friday, also here at Tembe, joining us. Shame, Catherine. So terribly sorry about all the rain that you've had for your weekend. I guess that meant you didn't have much time in the outdoors if it was pouring and flooding over in Germany. But yeah, looks like Germany is definitely having a lot of rain. So good luck with all that water. And isn't this just the most entertaining thing, watching these elephant bulls just like little children playing and having the best time? So last week, folks, I didn't do so well on the bird list. Catherine, I know you've probably got your bird list going there, and I don't know if we have any other viewers that are also birders today. So please just let me know if we have any other birders out there. I'm going to continue keeping my list, and I want to try and beat my number for last week. So my highest bird list for a live at the waterhole session is about 24 bird species, but I must say that was on a lucky day where we didn't have too much else, so we could jump around a lot, get some birds in. But let's see today if we can improve my number from last week. So my highest bird count for last week was 17 birds in one live at the waterhole session. So we have a woolly necked stork that's just landed there by the elephants. Candace, I agree with you there. This look is a very good look on these elephants. Have a look. There's a bull that's going to join them, and he's going to completely change color in just a moment or so. He's come to join the pool party as well. So normally this spot underneath the trees there, where the elephant bull is normally quite a popular spot for elephants to have a nice shady rest in the afternoon. And it is looking very nice and green over in Tembe Elephant Park in Maputoland, South Africa. I think at the moment it is one of our greenest locations. Yeah, shame. Some of our other locations are really struggling at the moment. It's very dry as we are in the midst of our dry season. Looks like we've got some ducks over there too. I know there's some Egyptian geese that hang out here. We've got an African jacana that is bouncing around on the vegetation there, or also known as the Jesus bird or the lily trotter. Cute little African jacanas, always busy out and about. Looks like an adult with two juveniles, and yes, we've also got 3 Egyptian geese. This little pond is perfect aquatic environment for our waterfowl species. They absolutely love this area. Lots of vegetation, lots of food to feed on, lots of insects, perfect for little fish and tadpoles. So lots of food there for them. So with the African jacanas, that would be the male with his little chicks. So unfortunately, with the jacanas, the male jacana does raise the chicks on his own, and I find it really adorable how when the chicks are still young, what's there? Is that a plover that's just come in? Upset the apple cart a little bit. See a bit of defense display there, or a bit of agitation from these jacanas. So Dean is asking about the African shelled duck. So yes, Dean, if we're lucky today, we might get the African shelled duck at Tau Lodge, one of our other locations, also in South Africa. At Tembe, I'm yet to see the shelled ducks yet. Another good location for the shelled ducks would be Etosha at Ukokuyu. I have seen shelled ducks there before. And check out this elephant bull. He's already had his pool party. You can see he went for a nice dust bath after. Now I'm not too sure he knows what his next plan in life is. What are you going to be up to this afternoon, big boy? You're going to go join in the pool party again? Welcome and join us, Joshua Drums. I hope that you are going to enjoy the live at the waterhole here with us today. To all our new viewers, everyone who's joining us for the first time, or our old viewers, really excited to be with you here today and to see what exciting wildlife and bird life we have waiting for us. And Hudson, about my bird list. So I do have a few bucket bird list locations that are yeah, I would love to get to see specific birds. I think Hudson, one of my top birding locations would definitely have to be, I would love to see the Congo peacock, which unfortunately only occurs in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So if I ever manage to get myself to the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, hopefully in the next 2 years, maybe to see the bonobos. I will also be in search of the okapi as well as the Congo peacock. Of course, it's not as elaborate as the Indian peacock or common peacock, which we all know of, but they are still very pretty birds, I must say. And of course, every country does have birding hotspots, so it all depends on what bird species you're looking for. Looks like this elephant's not quite done with his pool party. Got a lot of interesting birds calling around us. It's so nice to just listen to the sounds of nature. This little blue waxbill that I'm hearing close to the camera. Sorry, folks. Looks like we had a minor challenge with some of our cameras. So we have gone across to Djuma Game Reserve, which has been a hive of activity lately. At the moment, we are looking at a few female impalas, just enjoying. Looks like it's a windy afternoon. In August, it is very common in southern Africa to have lots of winds. Last week, Monday, was definitely a windy Monday, and we had another windy Wednesday. This week, not as windy, but there's still a little bit of a chill in the air. We have some blacksmith plovers in the background there, trying to chase possibly a ring-necked dove. Well done, Nola. Thank you for joining us, and glad you could cross the Egyptian goose off of your list. If we can get that shell duck today at some point at Tau Lodge, I'll be super excited. There's normally a pair there, male and female, or sometimes there's only a male shelled duck over at Tau Lodge. But yeah, really awesome to see what kind of birds we've got. So, of course, we've got our blacksmith plover, and there was also a ring-necked dove that the blacksmith plover was possibly chasing away. I think the blacksmith plovers are actually nesting at the moment. I've been hawked once or twice already in the last month by these plovers. So blacksmith plovers are ground nesting birds that will have anything from normally about 3 eggs, very well camouflaged on the ground. And if any predators come close to their nest, they start making a lot of noise and mobbing you. It can be quite a nuisance, but of course they're trying to protect their chicks or their eggs. So we were talking about Djuma Game Reserve and how festive Djuma has been lately. It definitely has been a feline festival, I must say, last week. Not too sure what happened over the weekend, but I know last week, wow, there was Langa Langa and Tlalamba both killed a dyke last week. Tlalamba was feeding her little cub, the dyke, and then of course we had Langa up in a tree, also feeding on a duiker, while there was some lions feeding on a dead buffalo close by. I think the Mohawk brothers there was just so much happening. Lots of lion activity, amazing leopard sightings. Also over at in Amakala, it's great to see lots of sightings. I'm also seeing here from Amakala, they also had some very good lion sightings yesterday afternoon on the sunset safari. So very lazy sleeping lions coming to scavenge off of a carcass that the lions had been feeding on. I believe they killed a kudu. So yeah, all of the locations have been having lots of activity. Lions, leopards, just it's been an absolute treat to see so much happening at our locations. The three amigos have been around as well. They also made a kill recently. I think it was yesterday, with Eric and Morgan. So that was another little bit of excitement. So yeah, definitely lots happening on the safari drives. There's Impala just coming for a bit of a drink. Shame. Looks like the dam is drying. This little stream is drying up a little bit, as with a lot of the locations. A lot of the streams will be drying up at this time of year. Maybe if we're lucky, we can see one of our monitor lizards that sometimes hangs out down here. I know also in this area, close to the bottom of the dam on Juma, there's also a little duiker or a few duiker that sometimes hang out here. Of course, some nyala always around. Let's see, maybe we find some terrapins or a monitor lizard, a water monitor. Billy Beach, thank you for the update about Lalamba. Good to hear that she came to the Juma Dam Cam last night. So Lalamba, the queen leopard of Juma, obviously still out and about, making sure everyone is aware of her presence, and very glad that she still has her little cub with her. A lot of really cool pictures and videos from last week of Lalamba with her cub playing and just bonding and spending some time together. Joanne Mello, crocodiles. Yes, got a request from Joanne Mello for crocodiles. Yes, I'm sure we might get some crocodiles somewhere at one of our locations. All these little pans drying up. Shame the crocodiles at some of the locations are struggling with not much water. But yeah, so, well, some of the crocodiles might be moving from one pan to the other pan as they all dry up during this dry season. Can actually move quite big distances, crocodiles, in order to get to another watering hole. Alrighty, well, talking about crocodiles and shells ducks, why don't we head across to Tower Lodge and see if we can find some cool birds and maybe a crocodile or two. Oh, we have a pretty cool bird here. This is the common moorhen cleaning itself, folks. Check out those cool bright yellow legs. Check out this guy cleaning himself. I love these common moorhens. They have such a kind of very interesting array of colors. Very black and white on their bodies, their feathers, and then, of course, on their face and legs, yellow and red. So we did have a question from Kim. Thank you for sending your question, Kim, about Thompson's gazelle or springbok. So your Thompson's gazelle, Kim, generally occur in East Africa, very small distribution in East Africa. So at our locations, which we will be visiting today, if we head over to Etosha, so in Etosha and Okukuyu, or also in some parts of Southern Africa and South Africa, they do get the springbok. But yeah, Thompson's gazelles mostly in East Africa, a very limited distribution in East Africa. This moorhen is getting ready for his Monday. I must say it is a bit of a late start he's having today if he's only starting to get ready for his day now. So we were discussing yesterday, last week, a lot of birds that have a lot of similarities. So this common moorhen is very similar to the lesser moorhen. But if you want to differentiate between the two, the common moorhen has a lot more red on his bill with a small tip of yellow on the end, whereas the lesser moorhen has mostly a yellow bill with a red kind of almost looks like a paint swipe on the top of his bill. Also, the coloration, common moorhen is a lot darker in color than the lesser moorhen. Obviously, distribution as well. The common moorhen is more widely distributed, and obviously, as its name kind of hints, is more commonly seen than the lesser moorhen. Oh, is that a crocodile on the left? What do we have there? Stick. Crocodile, crocodile, oops, some elephants. Shucks, the environment here at Tau is, you can see, a lot more dry than over in Tembe. We've got some elephants having a mud bath. And as you can see, this bull is very desperately trying to feed on some of the vegetation in the water there. Check out this guy. Oh, we've got some zebra also coming to join us in the background there. And quite interesting, you can see one of the young elephants that's in the background there has got a bit of a reddish color to him. So he probably has already had a sand bath somewhere. So Frank, thank you for your. Oh, what do we have here? Is that another common moorhen? Yep, another common moorhen. But we do have a black crake that has been at this pan quite a few times. So yeah, Frank is asking about birds and the difference between birds and if some birds are called ducks and others hens and others geese. So yeah, Frank, it will all depend on what family these birds do fit into. So a lot of these aquatic birds that do spend time in aquatic environments obviously will all be classified under one kind of type of family or specific environment that they occur in, but they're all definitely separated into their different families, just like you have herons and storks, you have ducks and geese, lapwings and plovers, so they're all kind of split up into their different family groups. Oh, these elephants. It must be very hot over at Tau, so as the season starts to change and it starts to heat up, definitely you do see a lot of these elephants spending a lot more time in the water and the mud. Why don't we watch this youngster for a bit and see what nonsense he's going to get up to. we have our crocodile here, folks. There we go, there we go. Joanne Mello, you were wondering if we would see a crocodile today, and how lucky are we to have been able to see this boy before he disappeared into the water. Because a lot of the times when the crocodiles are in the water with just their nose and ears sticking out, and eyes, it's very difficult to actually see them there. They lie so still that it looks like they could just be a stump or a log or a piece of mud. So very nice to see this crocodile. Obviously he was absorbing some sun rays, getting some energy. Maybe he had a bit of a hectic weekend, so he was absorbing some energy from the sun. I wish I could go and solar panel myself on a Monday morning, absorb all that energy and be ready for the week. Although I do find the more time you spend in the outdoors, the more energy you get from the universe, and yeah, ready to face another week. Here he goes. So Jill is asking about elephants and if they ever squash birds. So yeah, Jill, little birds, especially like plovers and your cattle egrets, for example, definitely have to be quite careful when the elephants are around to move out of the way quick enough. I haven't seen too often a bird squashed by an elephant, but recently I did find a poor little terrapin that obviously, yeah, in a pan didn't move out the way quick enough and got squashed by an elephant. Shame, it was a very small little guy. Just having a look, folks, seeing if we can, what else is out there, because there are normally 2 crocodiles in this pan. So I wonder where the other one has gone. So Joanne Miller again sending through another question about what guests most likely want to see or ask to see. I know that, yes, at Amakala, the cheetah sightings have been incredible, and yeah, they've been having some really great cheetah sightings. Oh, welcome back, folks, to Tembe. We have had a lion sighting. Check, there's a lioness here, folks. Obviously came for a quick drink. What is she up to? It's my first lion sighting at Tembe. How epic. And she looks rather large, I must say. So our director today is Jordan, who's with us, and she also says she's never seen lion at Tembe. So that is pretty epic to see a lion at Tembe here, folks. She looks quite tired. Looks like, oop, another one. 2 lions. How epic. Oh my gosh. Wow. The female on the front looks quite large. She might have cubs somewhere. She looked like she was possibly lactating. I know a lot of predators giving birth this time of year. So yeah, could be a mommy lioness. So 2 beautiful lionesses maybe coming down for a drink. How amazing is this, folks? Let's watch this lion as she comes down for a drink. I am sure all the impala that we hear earlier have probably disappeared because of these 2 lionesses are kind of coming onto the scene. Really, really awesome to see lions at Tembe. It's quite a big color difference between these 2 females. They look like they are in very good condition, I must say. They look very thirsty. What a lucky sighting this is. All right, folks, I'm just going to be quiet for a moment while we watch these lionesses having a drink. How epic, folks! Amazing sighting of two lionesses here at Tembe Elephant Park, which is not often. Well, it's quite rare to see lions at Tembe Elephant Park. It's definitely my first time seeing lions here, so that's really, really amazing to see these two female lionesses down here coming for a bit of a drink. And yes, I'm pretty sure once I saw that big belly of the one female that there must be cubs somewhere close by. She probably has a few cubs. So lionesses have what is known as inguinal mammae or inguinal mammary glands. So that's 4 sets of teats between their back legs, and that's pretty much same as your dog had back at home if you've had puppies, and so that's how they'll be able to suckle. And yeah, it's really amazing to see them. I don't think the lions were particularly avoiding the elephants. They just happened to be closest to this one side of the pan, although lions do generally avoid elephants. They're a lot bigger and stronger than them, and sometimes elephants are known for chasing lions away, especially at watering holes. So yeah, so lions were actually reintroduced into Tembe Elephant Park about 20 years ago, and obviously Tembe Elephant Park is being managed by Izimvelo, and Wildlife Act also has a conservation program protecting these lions and also monitoring these lions. So there are quite a few individuals with collars in this area. I wonder if they're still standing behind there. Looks like they might be lying in the bushes behind there. There's a kind of a bit of a gap. I don't know. Still lions there. So yeah, what the females will be doing this time of year, if they have little ones, they'll probably stash them in a very safe spot somewhere while they go out to hunt or look for food or water. And if they manage to make a kill, they will then bring some food back to the little ones. This is obviously a very crucial time for a lot of young predators, including lions, leopards, cheetahs, wild dog. just through the trees there. I'm not sure if it's the lions there or if it's a blog. They could be lying up in the thickets here anyway. So yeah, these lionesses will definitely have to be very careful of any male lions in the area. If a male lion comes into the area and finds some unattended little baby lions, unfortunately these males will kill the baby lions in order for the females to come into season sooner so that he can mate with them. And this is especially if the offspring are not his. Occasionally it has been recorded with little lions, baby lions, not being killed by males that kind of suspect that the offspring could be their own. But every new male in an area obviously wants the lionesses to come into season as quickly as possible, which is not possible when she already has cubs. So very sad kind of realism of the animal kingdom, but that's kind of how the animal world works. So hopefully she stashed them somewhere safe and sound so that she can return back to her little cubs, feed them, and they will then grow on to have their own babies. So epic sighting. Thank you so much. What this Monday is bringing us some amazing sightings. They could still be lurking around, so we're still just having a scan. All right, well, we've got someone who's going to keep an eye on this camera for us, just in case those lions come back. But why don't we head across to Founders in the meantime, Founders Lodge in South Africa, and see what's waiting for us at Founders Lodge. Oh, check out these warthogs here. We are at Founders Lodge in the Eastern Cape, and we have some warthogs that have just had a lovely mud bath, coated themselves in this thick mud, and now rolling in the sand. There's a bit of bonding and grooming there, so it could be a mother on the right-hand side, and her little piglet that is not so little anymore on the left. So we did have a few questions about the lions. So the younger one that was a slightly different color that came in second to have a drink, Ritz Paldora, could possibly be a youngster. It is very interesting how in so many different places that I've worked, the lion colorations kind of differ from one kind of location to the next. But she did look like she could be a little bit younger. So really awesome to see. Oh, we've got a pied wagtail to add to our list there. Pied wagtail. And of course, we did also get a question from Stephen Rissal, who's wondering about if lion prides split into smaller groups. So yes, Stephen, lion prides do split into smaller groups, depending on the hierarchy, what males are around. The male coalitions can also split up and join together. So it's all about dominance, hierarchy. What is happening with those warthogs? Looks like there's just one on the ridge on the left-hand side. This mud here is a very nice kind of a caramel brown color, which is definitely gives the warthogs and any rhinos that might be in these kind of areas a very nice golden tan color to their skin. Got a little blacksmith plover here that's also coming for a little bit of a cool off of his feet, and I think there might be a lilac-breasted roller that's just flown up into that tree just behind there. So we're also trying to do a bit of a bird list today and see how many birds we can record on this lovely windless Monday. It's a very nice day today, not too much wind. All right, well, there's not too much happening here, so why don't we head back to Tau and see what we can get at Tau Lodge. Welcome back to Tau, everybody. Looks like we still have lots of elephants enjoying the mud, trying to get to some of that green vegetation, all the green reeds that are still left. Very cool to see a waterbuck here today. Waterbuck male also coming down for a drink, and then we also have obviously our blue wildebeest in the background there, one male also by himself, as well as some zebra coming down for a drink. So I just want to say thank you to Lady Macbeth and Joshua Drons for the update on the lion situation in Tembe. So we got an update that there are currently 3 prides on Tembe, and one of the prides has a very big male. A very big male on Tembe. So obviously the population, since they started the reintroduction program, is obviously going well. So yeah, I have been to Tembe on a few day drives, and I didn't see lions while we were there, although we did see some fresh tracks, so they were definitely around. So very, very exciting to see Tembe having some lions on that location. And I think we might have our shelled ducks on the left hand side there, just in front of this elephant that's splashing himself. I wonder if the male shelled duck has his female friend with him today. Oh, there we go. 2 shelled ducks. So we had one of our viewers interested in shelled ducks. So yes, we have got both male and female shelled ducks here with us today. I guess his lady friend decided to come back and visit him. So the male shelled duck is on the bank with the grey head on the right hand side, and the female is the one with the white head in the water. Lovely to see these young waterbuck bulls coming down for a drink. So this is still a sub-adult male waterbuck, I would say. I don't think he's anything older than about 4 or 5 years of age. Those horns of his still have quite some growing to do. They're still a bit young and adolescents, have a lot of lessons to learn in life. So lovely to see those shell ducks. And I think we have a 3-banded plover just on the right hand of the screen, just in front of this little log, kind of parallel to where the shelled ducks are at the moment. Little 3-banded plover also bouncing around, looking for some little insects or some grubs. There's normally a grey heron that hangs out at this pan too. And of course, we haven't seen our black crake yet. Isn't this an awesome sighting? We've got in one screen elephant, zebra, wildebeest, and waterbuck. Isn't this cool? And I can also hear some buffalo weavers calling in the background there. Buffalo weavers. I'm sure you'll recognize that sound from the Juma cameras. Alrighty, looks like our warthog friends have come back. Let's go check out Founders and see what our warthogs are up to. Oh, we have a whole warthog family that has also come to join us for a little bit of a pool party. And we have also got our little wagtail. So I thought it was actually a pied wagtail, but that looks like a Cape wagtail that is flittering around. Let's enjoy these warthogs and having their pool party. I must say it is always rather entertaining watching warthogs have a bit of a pool party. Listen to that little cape wagtail there, vocalizing. Very nice to hear the warthogs vocalizing as well. There's a very curious warthog on the left. He's checking something out. You can see his nose is definitely having a good sniff. He's grunting a little bit. Maybe something's coming to the watering hole to visit. This warthog looks like he needs to go onto a bit of a weight loss program. He's looking a little bit porky. How lovely watching these warthogs mud wallow and roll in the mud. They are rather entertaining. Rather entertaining, I must say. And Billy Beach, yes. Wouldn't it be lovely if all of our mothers would allow us to roll around in the mud and have the best time? Up, general procedures after having a very good mud bath is to go and find the nearest rubbing post and have a good old scratch. So, computer enthusiast is asking about what warthogs feed on. So, warthogs, obviously, you can see they are specially adapted to feeding on their haunches quite a lot of the time, and they will be digging up roots and roots, shoots, tubers, and bulbs from the ground, and yeah, that's why they do spend a lot of time, fortunately, with their noses in the ground. So they do feed on a lot of the roots of like your panicum grasses or your brachial grasses. They do also like to feed on the seeds, so the heads of some grasses with the seed heads at times, depending on the time of the year. I have seen them warthogs also feeding on the amarula fruit or marula fruit. So they do have a slightly varied diet. They are, of course, omnivorous, so they can be seen actually feeding on the feces of other animals. I've also seen them sometimes at carcasses if they get a chance. I've seen them feeding on stomach content of a kudu or impala or kind of dead antelope. And at times you can even see them chewing and feeding on a bit of meat left on bones because they are omnivores. So yeah, they do have quite a varied diet, these warthogs. And wasn't that a lucky sight that we had these warthogs coming back for a mud bath? And I was just thinking as I was watching the screen, like how amazing the image quality was on this last little segment. Lovely reflections of the warthogs in the water. Yeah, if you are a photographer, it's always very intriguing when you can get that shot of a warthog or any animal with their reflection in the water. It always makes for a very special photo. Look at this very deep, dark colored red earth here. Again, like I said, makes the colors of a lot of the animals within these areas look a lot darker. Very red. All right, well, why don't we head back to Tau Lodge and see what other birds and wildlife have come to visit at Tau. Alrighty, so we still have our waterbuck. So it looked like three sub-adult waterbuck bulls that came down for a drink. I think they pretty much were almost the same age. And yeah, one is very curious of something in the water. Could be a bit skeptical because he knows that there are some crocodiles lurking close by. And we also obviously have the elephants that have come down not just for a drink, but also possibly to feed on the minerals that we're seeing here. Lots of sodak areas around this pad where the elephants will be taking advantage of the salts and minerals within the soil, which is very much something that is very important, not just in animals' diets, but also in us humans' diets. So I don't know if many of you are aware of the fact that a lot of the water that we drink nowadays is kind of stripped of all of the goodness and minerals from the soil and all the B12 and great things that we need from the earth, which we're now being deprived of. So yeah, we must always remember to somehow replace those minerals that we're no longer taking through our water. So don't forget to take your supplements, folks. Get those minerals in, get some B12, and of course, some vitamin D from the sunshine is also good for the soul. So I was doing a bit of research earlier today, folks, about so animals and animal communication and kind of all the different types of communications in animals that we are actually not aware of. So obviously there's the very obvious signs of communication. So the different sounds and rumbles and grumbles that animals make towards each other. Obviously the infrasound, which is not always audible to our ears. There's also visual displays and interactions, which, for example, happens quite a lot in elephants. Yeah, I'd say a very high percentage, more than about 80% of elephants' communication is all through visual and infrasound. So we actually don't hear a lot of the communication that goes on with a lot of animals. Obviously, there's also chemical forms of communication. So when certain animals are in heat, they also will excrete certain secretions that can help to indicate their level of either testosterone, or if they're in season, if they're ready for must, like what the kind of sexual status is, which is quite interesting in animals. That would be a lot easier if that was the same case in humans, but nonetheless, all these pheromones are very important in the animal world. Obviously, there's also grooming, which is a form of communication. It's a form of bonding, a form of cohesion, a form of kind of just like trust within each other. Normally, allo grooming is very important in a lot of animal species, and electrical communication is also very important in a lot of aquatic species. So a lot of fish, a lot of dolphins, whales, and aquatic species that we're not even aware of use this kind of electronic communication to communicate to one another. And echolocation, obviously very important communication in a lot of bat species. For me, it's quite incredible to think of how quickly bats can communicate and echolocate. Very incredible form of location. So, of course, there's also our tactical communication, which is physical contact. So, a lot of animals will use physical contact as a form of communication as well. So, it's amazing all the things that go on within the animal kingdom, or kind of within the animal world, that we're not always aware of. Animals are constantly communicating with one another. Just like now, you can see the body language of these waterbuck is a little bit uneasy, a little bit hesitant, a little bit skeptical. If there was a bit more water in this pan, I'd say they're probably nervous of maybe the crocodiles that are lurking in these murky waters. But yeah, the crocodiles are quite restricted at this time of year due to the low water levels. But luckily, a lot of reptiles during the winter months have quite a reduced metabolic rate. So their metabolism is a lot slower, which means they don't necessarily have to feed as often. But once those summer months arrive and the temperature starts heating up, then they are definitely in need of feeding themselves quite often. Shame it looks rather dry and dreary over at Tower Lodge, I must say. Yeah, there's not much greenery out there for the animals. It's nice to see such a decent sized bachelor group of waterbuck today. So obviously waterbuck are quite a good prey species for lion, leopard, and occasionally I have seen wild dog bringing down a waterbuck. But I won't say they're at the top of the list of prey species that any predator would actually want to eat, because waterbuck, seeing as they spend so much time in the water, they do actually have quite a bad smell to their skin. So this is almost like a waterproofing layer of oil or glands in their skin that actually help to keep their fur waterproof, and that makes their meat at times quite distasteful. So it's not the most sought after prey species, although I have had quite a few incidences with waterbucks in camp being taken by leopard, stuck up in a tree. Yeah, and the smell, I must say, was rather unpleasant. It looks like these waterbuck are managing to make their way through this thick mud to get to a safe drinking spot. So waterbuck is actually our national emblem for the national parks in Zimbabwe. So it's a very special antelope. And I think the reason for this is because in most of our national parks in Zimbabwe, waterbuck species are found within almost every national park within Zimbabwe. So yeah. And if anyone is looking for some interesting documentaries to watch, as we were talking about sound and how animal sound communication is so important, there's a lot of new technology, especially with NASA, that they have developed a lot of infrasound sensors or low frequency hydrophones to actually record a lot of sounds and communications that are not audible to the human ear. And this is really helping to discover a lot of new kind of interesting information and new behaviors in wild animals that we did not know about. So if you'd like to watch up a little bit and learn a bit more about all this new infrasound technology, I would definitely recommend giving David Attenborough's Secret World of Sound a watch. You can find it on Netflix. It's a very, very good documentary. There's a lot of stuff they've done with the snow owls and how they pick up the sound of rodents under the snow, even with all the disturbance, and how owls in many other different countries also hunt and how they can pick up these incredible sounds from such far distances. So definitely would recommend giving Secret World of Sounds with David Attenborough a watch. So Mandy is asking a question about these waterbuck and if they are young, quite young individuals, as their color is quite light and brown. So yes, Mandy, there's three of these young waterbuck bulls are quite young. I would say nothing more than about 4 to 5 years of age. But the second one in the middle, on the left here, he is looks a lot more mature. You can see in the shape of his horns, they're starting to arc forward a bit. So I would put their ages at the three youngsters, probably about between 4 to 5 years of age. And the older bull could be anything between 7 to 8 years of age. They have this perfect coloration to blend into their environment, as with many species. So Cat Fan is sending a question asking about wild dogs and not seeing wild dogs that often at watering holes. So yeah, wild dogs, obviously like every species, they do need to drink, although they are not as water dependent as some mammal species. I mean, I've spent at Juma Game Reserve, I've spent a whole afternoon sitting with so yeah, a whole sunset safari, 3 hours sitting with a pack of wild dogs that were just around a pan and every kind of 15 to 20 minutes drinking. So if wild dog have been on a hunt, they would definitely need to drink. After all the long distances of running they would have done. But yeah, maybe, yeah, they do move through areas quite quickly. Wild dog are not known for hanging around and lurking around as much as like lions do, for example. So yeah, might just be the fact that you haven't seen them. Whoop. This elephant is definitely communicating to these waterbuck that he is not happy that they are there, that they should disappear. So, Stefan Rose, thank you for your question, Rosal. Apologies for that. Is asking a good question about how animals respond to people riding horses or horseback safaris as opposed to game viewers. So, Stefan, I am a horseback safari guide myself, and I must say, in all my years doing horseback safaris, some of my really memorable encounters have definitely been on horseback. I mean, obviously, with regards to some of the cats, it's a bit easier to get closer to cats with a vehicle because lions, for example, they like eating horses. Um, so you're generally a bit more skeptical to get closer to lions. So lions and cats, like most predators like that, I would say it's a lot safer in a game viewer. But with regards to other wildlife, I generally find that wildlife have more of a placid response to horses. So if you think of it, it's a lot quieter for me, a lot more peaceful. And unless your clients are wearing bright colors or making a lot of noise, generally a lot of wildlife just consider horses as other animals, especially, for example, if you're encountering elephants and you just let your horses calmly feed and graze, that sound, as we were talking about communication, as in the wild, if you hear an animal feeding calmly, that's always kind of a good sign of no stress in the environment. So I'd definitely say you'd be able to get a lot closer to most wildlife on horseback. I've definitely heard really, really epic sightings of white rhino less than a couple of meters away on horseback. Black rhino, on the other hand, I would not um, generally try to avoid them like the plague while on horseback because black rhinos don't tend to like horses so much. So yeah, black rhino, lions, definitely avoid with horses, but everything else is very relaxed around the horses. So it's a very nice approach to a safari, also very low impact, kind of eco-friendly way to view wildlife without leaving too much of a footprint. So, Lady Macbeth, thank you for confirming with me about the David Attenborough series. Yeah, I was really excited. I saw it the other day and I watched it over the weekend. Watched probably one episode and realized, oh dear, I've actually already watched this before, but it was really amazing. So, like, I don't mind watching it again. And you pick up a lot of things in all these documentaries. So, yeah, my go to Netflix, Disney Plus. There's some incredible stuff out there. If you want a few names of some great documentaries, wildlife documentaries, just off the top of my head, there's a new documentary that's just come out. I think it's on Disney Plus called Queens, and it's of course about all the queens of the animal kingdom. Very good stuff. Night on Earth on Disney Plus, also very, very good. They use a lot of kind of infrared cameras or night cameras to pick up some behavior again that's undiscovered behavior. Really, really incredible stuff. And a documentary which I was actually took place in. Oh, folks, we've got a jackal. Have a look. There's a black-backed jackal that's just joined us here at the watering hole. You see coming kind of onto the bank on the elephant on the far left side. A little jackal has just joined us. Looks like he's just taken a bit of lie down. Oh, no, he's still there. Really awesome to see jackal during the day. He's obviously come down for a drink. He's beautiful tawny color, black-backed jackal, everyone. Hello, little guy. So if this jackal had popped up at Tembe, I would have said he was probably following those lions, seeing as jackal and hyena love to follow lion and leopard. Maybe hoping to get a bit of a scrap or free morsel of food here or there. How cute is this little jackal? We've also got some little red-billed teals all huddled up in the water. Where's he gone? Really cool little jackal. We're having a pretty good predator day today, I must say. So talking about diverse diets, this jackal, they also have quite a diverse diet. So not only are they obviously scavengers, but they do hunt themselves. So this jackal will hunt anything from, I've seen jackals digging in elephant dung for grubs and larvae. You can see these, as I mentioned, the blacksmith plovers dive bombing this jackal. So they've probably got a nest close by, and if that jackal finds those eggs or baby chicks, it'll definitely chomp away. Jackals will also feed on fish. I've seen jackals hunting for fish in small dried ponds, small insects and grubs. If they are really desperate, birds, ground nesting birds, baby guinea fowl, chicks. Very diverse diet. These little jackals, black-backed jackals, are very, very, very cool. So this black-backed jackal, another name for it can also be the acacia jackal, because it's always associated with very dry acacia savannas. It's quite a cool photo here with a bit of an elephant head, some shell Egyptian geese, and a little jackal. Come for a midday drink. So just like with the warthog, as we spoke about, these jackals are kind of omnivorous, more so than warthog. I mean, it's very rare to see a warthog chewing on a bit of meat on a bone. I think they just do that as a means of getting some extra protein in, whereas jackals do feed on a lot more carrion, which is eaten quite often, and you obviously need to feed their pups some meat. They have pups generally at a den as well. So jackal are quite common in most parts of southern Africa, and they definitely can become a pest in some areas, especially on farming land. So shame they are hunted quite a lot. And they make quite a wide series of calls. So quite explosive yelps, followed by some shrills. I'm sure you've heard them calling while camping or sleeping out in the bush in the early hours of the morning or afternoon. And I think a few weeks ago I was discussing with about how there are a lot of kind of variants of jackals now, especially for some reason the side-striped jackal, same as the Ethiopian wolf. There seems to be quite a few different color variants coming up. Seen some very interesting pictures of color variants of the side-striped jackal from Ethiopia as well as Kenya. So it's interesting how different regions you can get these different color morphs. So Catherine, blue-billed teal. Where have I seen a blue-billed teal? Very rarely in a few areas in Zimbabwe, but there are quite a few locations in South Africa where you can see blue-billed teal. I think one of them was probably the Isimongalisa Wetland Parks in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. Very cool sighting as well. But it was really cool to see these blacksmith plovers dive bombing that jackal. So as I mentioned earlier, it's the nesting season for the blacksmith plovers. And so I'm sure they will have a nest somewhere close by, and they would not want that jackal to come anywhere near their nest. Otherwise, the jackal will definitely have some eggs for lunch. So we have some interesting birds calling in the background, folks, but if there's anyone that would like to help me identify, I think it might be an aeromomola of some sort. So I'm just kind of going through my aeromomolas to see which aeromomola it might be at this location here. So obviously when looking for birds and different bird species, you can pull up the map if you're not familiar with the area and have a look at which birds occur within that region. And this waterbuck is also feeding some of the green, lush vegetation at this pan. If you have any birders out there, please give me a hand on an ID of one of these aeromomolas calling. I think there's two aeromomolas calling just on the distance there. I'm going to guess one could be a burnt-necked aeromomola. It's definitely in range, but I would need to play the call. So yeah, if there's any of our birding fans, just let me know what you think. I'm just going to play this call, and if it's the correct call, then I might play it on the mic for you. Let's have a listen and see. No, I'm going to have to carry on searching. One of the aeromomolas. Look at these beautiful waterbucks here. There's another three-banded plover that's just flown across there on the other side of the pan. So these waterbucks, they are very, very comfortable in muddy environments like this. In fact, sometimes you'll find waterbucks, for example, on the Zambezi River. You'll find waterbuck that reside on the islands and spend a lot of time in the water. They love thick reeded vegetation around pans, watering holes, dams. A lot of dams you'll go to in most southern African countries. If you have a nice big dam with a lot of reeded vegetation and open shores with green grass, you are bound to find a waterbuck or two somewhere close by. You can hear our little waxbills, blue waxbills calling as well. Oh, if we have any of our birders listening, I would love to play for you one of my favorite birds, West African birds. So this is known as a forest robin. So a very beautiful bird, quite bright orange breast with a very kind of prominent white spot on its face. If you Google forest robin, or also known, a different subspecies is also the Gabon robin. And I'm going to play this call for you. Very, very cool call to find in the forest. If he's vocalizing, it's often to kind of attract another male or to defend his territory. So let's have a listen to this forest robin calling here. Isn't that a beautiful call? So I have spent many days in a forest, in forests, searching for this forest robin. So what the male forest robin will do, like it's very common characteristics of robins, they are quite territorial within the areas that they live, and this robin would sit up on a branch, normally in the very dark, lurking parts of the forest, very difficult to see, and he would make that call, and again you have to wait. He calls and pauses. Every time he calls, you have to sneak a little bit closer. And I finally got to have a bit of a glimpse of him in my last few months in West Africa. Very cute, short-tailed forest robin. Normally hangs out in the understory, obviously because of his bright color and very unique call. It's a very special little bird. Oop, we have a sunbird calling in the background too, folks. Okay, a sunbird of some sort. Very high-pitched chirping sound. Sunbird. Let's have a look. Which sunbird could it be? So I'm going to play another sound for you. So again, when I'm sitting at a watering hole with some clients and it's a bit quiet and not too much is happening, it's always good to listen to the birds and sights and sounds around you. Oh, we've got our crocodile friend is here again with our moorhen, our Egyptian geese, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll see our black crake. All right, so I'm going to play a scarlet-chested sunbird, which is a common sunbird in southern Africa. This might not be the scarlet-chested because it's a female, but just want to give you a bit of an idea of the beautiful sounds of some of the sunbirds that we get here in Africa. Yeah, very cool to hear a little sunbird calling in the background there. So obviously female sunbirds for me are very difficult to identify, just as is with a lot of LBJs in Africa. So LBJs is a term in the birding world known as the little brown jobs. There's a whole bunch of families of many little brown birds that are very difficult to identify, I must say. And so are female sunbirds. But generally, if you find a female sunbird, the male is normally not too far away. And then, yeah, you can get a better ID. Because if you want to ID a female sunbird, that's definitely going to be a lot of time and sitting, looking, waiting. The differences are very, very minor. Like the bill might be a bit shorter. This one might have a slightly green tone of green, or that one might have shorter tail, it's very difficult. These Egyptian geese are also enjoying a nice sunny Monday afternoon, just taking it easy. I hope that the rest of our viewers today haven't had too much of a busy Monday starting into a new week. I hope that you all had like a very restful weekend. Had some time for some R&R. Our crocodile friend has managed to find another nice little sunny spot. It was quite interesting on Thursday and Friday last week. We had the same crocodiles here, and they were trying to get up onto the banks to rest in the grass on a nice sunny spot. And they really struggled to get onto some of these banks with the mud kind of receding. See the reflection of the water buck on the right hand side of the screen. Yeah, so I don't know. I'd love to know how everybody's weekends were. Catherine, or what about who are some of our other viewers? Lady Macbeth, Billy Beach, Stefan Rousseau, Cat Fan, any of our viewers that are with us. Please let me know how your weekend was. What did you get up to? How was it? I hope you got some resting time. Yeah, send me through some information on your weekend. My weekend was lovely. I had a lovely dinner on Friday night. Got to be a girl, which is, for some guys, it's very difficult when you're in the bush all the time. So to wear a dress and be a girl is sometimes fabulous. Then I went hiking on Saturday, had a really awesome hike. And then, Sunday had a braai as well. The rugby was on. If anyone was watching the rugby, I hope you guys had a good braai, barbecue, good time with friends. Congrats to the Springboks for winning the rugby against Australia. I believe it was an incredible match. I know there was the big wrestling this weekend as well, or boxing, was it? MMA. Was on this weekend too. So I don't know if anyone was watching the MMA or the rugby, but I'd love to hear how everybody's weekends went. A lot of sporting events. I know the Olympics is over, so a lot of people might be slightly lost with their lives. I know a lot of people that are huge sporting fans and spend a lot of time watching sports. So when the Olympics is over, it's like, what do we do now? Life goes back to normal, but it's good to have the rugby this weekend. And a lot of very good sports to watch lately. So we're getting a lot of very hot weather forecasts coming in of some hot weather. I must say I'm very glad that this Monday is not like last Monday. Last Monday we had a very windy Monday. It was, a bit, we almost blew away at some stage. So glad that some of Lenny and Igok had a good weekend, even though it was a little bit hot in some of our locations. Also very cold. I'm sure Germany had a lot of rain. So, a lot of different environmental changes in the world nowadays. So Mrs. Jason Voorhees went to go and see the Alan Romulus on IMAX. Thank you for sending your regards from California. I know the new Deadpool is coming out soon, so I don't know if we have any Deadpool fans there. I don't think I'll have a chance this time, but probably after my next stint on Wild Earth. I definitely have got a day booked for going to see Deadpool. I know everyone's very excited about the new Deadpool coming out. I don't know if we have any Deadpool fans there. I think I mostly watch Marvel, things like that, for mostly just if you have friends that are all watching. And otherwise my preferences are like crime documentaries, a lot of crime documentaries, and of course wildlife documentaries. Killing Eve is also very captured my attention at the moment, and recently been watching a lot of documentaries about Rwanda and Rwandan genocide. Very interesting to learn about all that. All right, folks, let's head across to Victoria Falls and see what is happening at Safari Lodge in Victoria Falls. Looks like a windy day in Victoria Falls. These marabou stork are blowing in the wind a little. So thank you for the rest of our viewers for sending through some information on your weekend. Catherine, I'm so glad that you managed to have a successful horse competition and get some riding in before all of those rains arrived in Germany. I know Cape Town has been struggling with rains too, so well done for getting some horse activities done before the rains arrived. And from Cat Fam, glad that you managed to have a restful weekend with some gardening, lots of R&R, and of course it seems like you have also been having a lot of rain in the US as well. So glad you got to do some gardening before all the rains came through. What else do we have at this pan here at Victoria Falls? Ah, there's a bird in that little clump of vegetation. Ah, is it a jacana? I'm praying it could be a squawker heron. Is this a squawker heron? Or it could be a greenbacked heron. Looks like it's hunting. Maybe we'll get some movement. Marabou stork, another one to add to the list. And it also sounds like we have some blue waxbills calling in the distance there. Sometimes if we're lucky we do get cattle egrets at this location, and obviously because of the vulture feeding there often are white-backed vultures, hooded vultures here, but I think we're a bit late for the vulture feeding today. And they normally feed the vultures at Safari Lodge here in Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls, around midday. That's a very interesting thing to watch, I must say, if you're in Victoria Falls. Oh, we have a red-necked spur fowl also calling in the distance there, and of course our buffalo weavers, red-billed buffalo weavers, you can hear them calling. So with that bird, I'm going to go for squawker heron. The squawker heron is definitely right habitat for it and looks like the correct hunting posture. We have another little black bird. I'm praying it's going to be the black crake. That would be cool. We need a black crake, but it's looking more and more like a little African jacana, which always very cool to see. So this very thick reed vegetation is perfect nesting sites for a lot of water birds or waterfowl species. Nice cover, enough cover and protection for them. Thank you everybody for sending me your updates of your weekends. It's always nice to have a busy weekend but also have time for some R&R. This marabou stork is sitting on top of a stunted, looks like a mopani tree there. Oop, a couple more marabous. Oop, and yep, there we go. We got some more birds, folks. Looks like got some more birds here. Looks like we have a little egret. I know there's some Egyptian geese here too. Yeah, so it could be a little intermediate egret. Intermediate egret. Having a bit of a hunt, looking for some fish. And in the shade there, it could be our, oh, I'm hoping it's guinea fowl. Looked like it could actually be helmeted guinea fowl. And on the left, we have a hardy-dar, which we don't have to our list. So we're managing to tick quite a few birds off our list today. I'm really excited. Last week I didn't do so well. I got 15 on one day, I think on Thursday, 17 on Friday. Yep, here we have helmeted guinea fowl, folks. Also resting in the shade of the tree. Hooded vulture. Nice to get some birds added to our list before we end the show. So it's quite common character of vultures. Once they have fed, they often will come to the nearest water source for a drink, clean themselves a bit, and then obviously rest up before they take off to another location or go and hang out in a tree close by. Mercedes-Benz, sounds like you had a rather interesting weekend with your country dancing classes. Oh man, I wish I could join you. I would love to learn how to country dance properly. Yeah, sounds like you had a great weekend, as well as a little bit of rest. So good to get some play and rest in. And from Mrs. Jason Voorhis, also had a good weekend on a large farm and also went for a bit of a treat to watch some movies. What a lovely treat. Movies on a weekend with some country dancing. Nice. Sounds like everyone had a rather entertaining weekend. What do we have here? Is there some more birds? Is there something? The Mopanis at the moment are beautiful, I must say. So it's that time of year, I guess, in kind of this overseas, you would call it like autumn. So the end of winters, a lot of trees. Some trees still have their leaves. So like a lot of Mopanis in some areas do still have some leaves on the trees. And some Mopanis even have like almost three-tone colors to the trees. So the top, obviously, where the leaves are being affected by the sun, are all dry and brown, and then going down into yellow, orange, and then even down in some leaves at the bottom of the trees are still actually green. So it's really awesome to see all the different colors coming out. So a lot of winter trees are starting to flower at this time. Looks like our squawker heron is still in the hunting pose. He's being very mysterious, I must say. Oh, got something on the side of the watering hole there. Something moving around. Looks like it is a bit of a windy day in Victoria Falls. A lot of people ask me, because I'm from Victoria Falls, this is my hometown. And a lot of people do ask me, oh, if you're going to see the Victoria Falls, would you go to the Zambian side or the Zimbabwean side? Yes, Zambia does have a lot to offer, but yeah, my favorite place to view the actual Victoria Falls, of course, is from the Zimbabwean side. The last time I went, maybe 3 months ago, we got completely drenched, of course, because it's very dry this year. Lots of mist, lots of spray. It was, yeah, very refreshing, to say the least. Oop, we have a crocodile here. Hello, little guy. It's another crocodile from one of our locations. Pretty cool to see a crocodile in a new place. So the Safari Lodge is actually located quite close to the nearby crocodile farm. And they do often have some escapees that do get out and sometimes make their way to this pan here at Safari Lodge. Often a lot of them will actually escape straight into the Zambezi River. but some of them do make their way here to Safari Lodge. During the rainy season, I have had one instance where I actually bumped into a crocodile in a pan on the side of the road, so a little puddle near the side of the road. Obviously, I'm sure most people are aware that our roads in Zimbabwe are quite appalling. And yeah, I was walking down the side of the road, close to the boat club, which I'm sure a lot of you know, one of the local hangout spots. And there was a small crocodile. And when I say small, he was probably 2 foot already in one of the potholes on the side of the road. That was rather entertaining, I must say, because I don't know who got more of a fright, me or the little crocodile. So I've got a few questions coming through about Victoria Falls. Catherine, yes, I would say that you have seen the falls from the best side. Zambia does have a beautiful little spot where you can see the boiling pot, and there's this massive bridge which you again always get wet at. But yeah, there's definitely, so Zambia only has about, I think it's, yeah, less than 25% view of the actual falls, whereas the rest is on the Zimbabwean side. So Zambia, I can do, I think, in even 45 minutes to an hour, you could probably do the Zambian side with the viewing points to the actual falls, whereas the Zimbabwean side, depending on the group you're with, I would always suggest between 2 to 4 hours because there's a lot more viewing spots, a lot more viewing areas, and yeah, it's magnificent. It's so beautiful, and then of course you've got the bridge at the end as well. And then Billy Beach is asking about Devil's Pool. So no, Billy Beach, I have not been in Devil's Pool, but I have been in Angel's Pool, which is a private pool on the Zimbabwean side, very similar to Devil's Pool, but of course it's one of those local secrets. So not too many tourists have ever actually been there. But yeah, again, very beautiful, but it's a bit dangerous, the Angel's Pool, because you do have to go with a speedboat on the Zambian side, and then you actually cross across the top of the Victoria Falls, about less than 70 meters from the actual falls itself. So if you have engine failure on your boat, you are tickets over the falls. Bungee jumping with no strings attached. So that's one of the things you'll only do once in your life. But yes, I would definitely recommend Devil's Pool, although it is very popular and seasonal. So if you are coming to the falls and you would like to do Devil's Pool, I would definitely recommend booking at least 2 months in advance because it is a very popular activity. Oh, this marabou stork, just standing here watching the day go by. I read something quite interesting about vultures and marabou storks. Obviously, you can see that marabou. It's quite impressive white legs, and obviously this is from the uric acid that they excrete. And obviously this uric acid does help to cool them down on hot summer days, as well as coat their legs, so protect them from the sun. But also the uric acid, it's very acidic and very strong, and it actually also acts as a kind of protection against a lot of vultures and marabou storks' legs when they are feeding at carcasses. Obviously, when you're at a kill site, there's a lot of bacteria and very toxic, bacteria and very nasty little germs and bacteria that could cause quite a bit of problem for birds and vultures when they're feeding on a carcass. And yeah, this uric acid actually acts as a protective layer and protects these birds from getting infections, for example. Well, intermediate egret also looking for some fish, seeing if he can catch himself a bit of a mid-afternoon snack, late lunch snack. Talking about late lunch snack, I feel like it's about tea time. 3 o'clock must be almost tea time. If you have any tea fans, we have a great white egret here, folks. There's another bird to add to our list. He's in full stalk mode. Maybe, if we're lucky, we can catch him making a kill. Check at him with his neck, so he'll do this kind of weaving and winding with his neck in order to triangulate or better determine the location of maybe a fish or a frog that he's seen in the water, and then he dives down with his head, and if he's lucky, catches himself a tea time snack. We also have the Hadidar ibis that's just behind this great white egret, and I can hear another sunbird calling in the background there. So Bianca, a very good question about egrets and herons and their hunting method. So not all egrets have the same hunting method. Obviously, some do have slightly different hunting methods depending on the size prey that they are feeding on, and obviously the aquatic environment that they reside in. One of my favorite is, of course, the black heron, or also known as the nighttime daytime heron, and he is the one that'll actually run along the edge of the water, cast his wings across his face, and make a shadow on top of the water in order to easily see if there's a prey species there. So when he casts his shadow over the water, it's like nighttime, and then he opens his wings daytime, closes his wings nighttime, opens his wings daytime, and he looks like a little umbrella bird. Very, very cool method of hunting. With the hammerkop, they will often, also another name for the hammerkop is the DJ bird, because he will run in the water, also on the edge of a pool or a pan or a watering hole, and he will kind of like shake his feet like a DJ, kind of doing his thing, and that helps to disturb fish, and that's then how he catches his prey. And a lot of the smaller egrets will also use a kind of startle display. So they'll run around in the water, also again up and down, fly up in the air, and then turn around and actually catch their fish. So they'll chase their fish into one direction and then kind of run and swoop around and then catch their prey. So a lot of different methods of hunting in birds. Wow, it is pretty dry here in Vic Falls at the moment, I must say. Very dry. Again, mostly the green that you're seeing is around the watering hole. We have, inside the watering hole actually, baobab trees in the distance there. Shame, a lot of the emopani trees have all lost their leaves at the moment. Very, very dry at this time of the year. Got some, we do have some green trees there. It looks like some combretum imberbes, or the mouse-eared combretum trees that do have some green leaves. Unfortunately, they're not really edible by anything, and they're actually, there's quite a funny nickname for the combretum tree. So it's known for having these long branches with horrible spines that actually can puncture your tire very easily if you drive over it. So it's like your worst nightmare if you are off-road driving, which we shouldn't be. But if you happen to be off-road driving, you will definitely watch out for those combretums. And the funny scientific name that I've heard them being called is Landroverus flat tyrus, because even a Land Rover will get a flat tire from a nasty combretum spline. like this definitely is a squawker heron. And yeah, I don't think he's been very successful on the hunting front, I must say. I think probably 10 minutes after we finish the show, I'm going to be on a hunt for something delicious for my afternoon tea. Yeah, this poor squawker heron did not manage to find a snack for his afternoon tea, but I am dying for a good cappuccino, maybe something pastry, sweet, and yeah, delightful. All right, we don't have too much activity here, so let's head back over to Tower Lodge, folks, and see what is waiting for us there. Whoa, check out what we've got here, folks. So we're back in Tower Lodge in Madikwe Game Reserve, and we have a spoon bowl sitting in a little muddy spot on the right hand side of our screen. Another epic bird we can add to our list. I'm doing pretty well on the list today. I'm pretty impressed. And this spoon bowl is, yeah, pretty chilled. Pretty chilled. He's got his nice pink colorations. I do love the spoon bowl. He's quite an awkward looking little bird. You can see that a pink coloration on his bill, and of course that specially adapted bill for filter feeding. The African spoonbill. Quite a distinctive pale water bird with long pink legs and of course a bare bright pink red face, as we can see. Very alien-like eyes and face, I must say. So they do prefer more quiet, shallow water holes or bodies of water. And they feed by actually swinging their head from side to side and slicing their bill through the water. And that's what helps them to catch fish or little aquatic invertebrates. And they're quite nomadic birds, these spoonbills. Looks like a little moorhen friend has come by to say hello. He must be trying to get out of the wind, this spoonbill. Looks like it's a little bit windy. And that moorhen has his head stuck in the mud there. He's hunting for something. Very cool to see a spoonbill. I think it's my first spoonbill at Tau and Tau Lodge in Madikwe. Looks like he's giving himself a bit of a clean. So, Cat Fan is saying, how about a scone for an afternoon snack? Yeah, scone sounds pretty good, but we have this amazing little restaurant or little kind of, yeah, coffee shop just down the corner that has all these incredible things like cheesecakes with bar one and this and that and Nutella and always with fancy little delicate touches on the top. So that sounds like it would be great, but you have to love a fresh scone with some strawberry jam and whipped cream. Nothing better than that for an afternoon cup of tea. The spoonbill is very comfortable. He's even looks like he's got a little bit of a tinge of blue to his bill. The African spoonbill. So I have a call here for the spoonbill. Let's give it a listen and see what sound these spoonbills make. Not a very attractive sound, I must say. There we go. That is the sound of the African spoonbill. Oh, looks like he's tired already, and it's only Monday. Shame, he has a long week ahead of him. Maybe he's having those Monday blue vibes. Actually, that looks exactly like what he's having. Shame. Poor guy. So I don't know if we have any rusk fans out there. My go-to afternoon tea snack and actually breakfast and any time snack is definitely a rusk or a little bit of cookie. Yeah, so it's a traditional South African tea time snack. They were actually, yeah, kind of came up with during the Fort Trekker days when they needed to move. A lot of the Boers needed to move very far distances, didn't have food to, well, needed to be able to preserve their food very well. So they came up with these dried biscuit things that just last forever. Yeah, so yeah, they can literally, you can have them in your cupboard for days, weeks, months at a time. And yeah, my Omar makes the most amazing rusks ever. So there's a company in South Africa that makes Omar rusks, but my Omar makes the best rusks. They've got nuts and seeds and raisins and all kinds. It's delicious. So for me, that's the best anytime, all day kind of snack. But afternoon tea snacks, I am very much a sucker for all the pastries. Even a chocolate croissant would go down marvelously right now. Oh, Catherine, I believe you're baking your own rusks at the moment. Well done and good luck. I'd love to see some pictures of your rusks. Cat fan, I'm glad you also enjoy a morning rusk with your tea. That again is my beginning of my day most days, especially in Joburg. It's pretty much just live on rusks and avocados while I'm here. So yeah, our spoonbill has decided to show off his legs, and look how pretty he is. He's giving himself a nice groom, and yeah, I hope he's a little bit more prepared for the week, just like the rest of you back at home that are watching. I hope that this Monday live at the waterhole has really put you in a nice, relaxing mood for the rest of your week. I hope that you have the most productive week ever. Don't forget to take a little time to stop, smell the roses, have a cup of tea without doing a million things at the same time. Have a rusk, treat yourself. You all deserve it every now and then. Don't forget to take in all those minerals that we need. Drink lots of water. Stay hydrated. Yeah, and a little bit of vitamin D from the sunshine is always good for the heart and soul. So as we're going to be ending off the show soon here, folks, I just want to let you know, so for today we managed to get ourselves a very impressive 22 bird species.